Mariella, and my preferred gender pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am wearing a t-shirt that says, "The future is accessible." The t-shirt is black with white letters. It also has my handle, private hearing. I am a tan woman of Dominican descent. I have box braids in my hair. Behind me there is a cream colored wall. I am so excited because today we are launching the Ask Me Anything! And so this is an initiative for us to have frank conversations about disability, about accessibility, about the realities of being a person living in the world as a person with a disability. So over the next few weeks, we're going to have lots of really awesome conversations with people across the spectrum of hearing disability, with people across the spectrum of disability, sharing honest stories about our struggles, our wins, our challenges. So I'm really, really excited to be on this journey with all of you.
Question number 1. What does accessibility look like for you?
As someone with an invisible disability, and a very specific one at that, accessibility for me is all about captioning and visual tools. I don't need a ramp, I don't need Braille, which is fascinating because I tell people that I have a hearing disability and then they'll ask me, "Do you speak Braille?" And I'm like, "No, I have a hearing disability, not a vision disability." So for me, accessibility is really about closed captioning. When I go on Instagram, I have a hearing disability because a lot of content on Instagram is not accessible because it is not captioned. That's actually something I fight really, really, really hard in terms of educating people and letting people know what resources are available so that they can become allies.
Question number 2. Have you ever tried to hide your disability?
I have tried to hide my disability. Years later, we still live in a world full of bias, discrimination, and prejudices. And I have applied for jobs where I am perfectly qualified to do the job. And the job has nothing to do with my hearing disability. However, I fear that if I disclose my hearing disability, the hiring managers will say, Mariella could be too expensive, not knowing that there are tools and services to help me be successful in the workplace. So in those situations, I have chosen not to disclose or minimize or hide my hearing disability just so that I can get a job. So again, discrimination, bias, and prejudices are still rampant 30 years after signing up the ADA.
Question number 3. Who are your disabled role models?
I will list 3 individuals. So I'll start with the past. There is Helen Keller. Helen Keller is an amazing disability advocate from way back in the day. She was able to use her story and her experience and her ease in moving across society to really advocate for more inclusion, to advocate for more accessibility and for access to communication and independent living. So she was a pioneer in that respect, and everybody knows about Helen Keller. But talking more recently, we have people like Dr. Vince Cerf, who created email in the 1970s. And Dr. Vince Cerf is exceptional. He is currently working at Google, and one of the things I love about his work is that he is continuously injecting accessibility, continuously fighting for inclusion for people who, like him, have hearing loss. So being able to use all of that power and influence to create positive social change is amazing. And you also have people like Niall DeMarco, who is America's Next Top Model. He is a very sexy man, but he uses his amazingly good looks to try to create awareness about deaf culture, to create stories that center on the narratives of people with hearing disabilities. And I find that he has done tremendous work over the last few years. So those are my top 3 disability advocates.
Question number 4. What advice would you give your younger self after you acquired your disability?
There's so many things I wish I could tell younger me about my hearing disability. The first piece of advice I would tell myself is disclose. Disclose. And I say that because having a disability can be attached to a lot of stigma, shame, fear of disclosure. But when you disclose your disability, you are able to open the doors to have conversations about accommodations. And when you have those conversations, you are then able to get the tools that you need to be able to have equal access. So one of the things that I believe firmly in is that I don't want to be tolerated. I want to be included. And so being able to reach that point in an organization, in my relationships, in every aspect of my life requires that I be honest with myself, that I be honest with my needs, and then work with those around me to make sure that my presence, my full body is included.
Question number 5. Has your disability impacted your relationships?
From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I am a person with a hearing disability. Having a hearing disability means that there are things that I cannot do, or there are things that are challenging for me where I need to be accommodated. I need to make sure that my partner is understanding of these things. I need to make sure that my friends aren't mean bullies that like cover their mouth or as in twig like this to mock my lip reading. Like, people have done that and I've cut them off. So my hearing disability does define every aspect of my life, does define many aspects of my identity, and being aware of all the different spaces and all the different ways that my disability impacts my relationships has really allowed me to ensure that I focus on creating those relationships with people that will support me and will accommodate me.
Question number 6. What were your biggest challenges participating in student campus life growing up?
One of the biggest challenges that I've had growing up as a person with a hearing disability is really how do I accept my disability? How do I disclose my disability in a way that I will face the least amount of discrimination, the least amount of struggle, but still get the full support that I need to be successful? I have gone on dates with people. Like, I went on a blind date with someone that when I disclosed that I had a hearing disability, he literally stood up from the table and said, I don't want to date someone that has a disability. That has happened. I have had supervisors who have told me to my face, if we had known that you had a hearing disability, we wouldn't have hired you for the job. I have had friends who are not really my friends and who have been mean or said things under hush breaths that I didn't hear or made fun of my hearing, and I cut those people off. So I think having a disability, especially an invisible one that people often forget is there, has been challenging. And over the last, decades, I really have had to find that balance in how and when and how I choose to disclose my hearing disability.
Question number 7. What do you like about your disability?
I think nobody wakes up in the morning and says, gee, what a great day to be a disabled person and face struggle and bias and discrimination. Nobody does that. But I think for me, the reality is that this is my reality. These two pieces of equipment that I wear on my ears, they are me. I need them to move around in the world. And so what I like about them and what I like about my hearing disability is just how it has allowed me to connect with technology, to troubleshoot, to find solutions to problems, and in finding solutions to problems, to take up space, and in taking up space, creating opportunities for others to also disclose. Over the last few years, so many people have come up to me and told me that the videos that I'm making on Instagram are helping them kind of come to terms with their own disability. I did not get where I am in my disability journey overnight. That took decades of work. But I think that now that I am in a space where I am comfortable about my disabled identity, what I love about that is that I am creating spaces where other people feel a sense of empowerment and ownership over that aspect of their identity as well. And that gives me tremendous joy.
Question number 8. How can someone become an ally to the disabled community?
Talking about being an ally is like solving this big problem. It's like talking about poverty. You're not going to solve the problem of poverty overnight. And so being an ally for disability is about doing what you can, where you are, with what you have. If you want to be an ally to someone like me, make sure that your videos are captioned. We just did an entire workshop on that topic, just 15 minutes a few weeks ago. Check it out. If you are a hiring manager, make sure that you're interviewing people with disabilities in the hiring process. If you are an event planner, make sure that you include accessibility and disability in those events that you're putting together. If you are someone that is a student or a college professor, make sure that you're making space to make sure that people with disabilities in the class are being included. If you're a friend, if you're just a normal, regular person, just meet someone with a disability and be their friend. Sometimes the experience of being a person with a disability can be very isolated. So do what you can, where you are, with what you have. Make a difference with the resources you have right in front of you. Make a donation to the Project Hearing page. You can do that by going to the Project Hearing website. All the funding that we raise, donations, workshops, is going to be used for the Hearing Access and Inclusion Conference. This is going to be our second annual conference. Last year, we got sponsored by Google, and this year, we need you to help us make the conference happen. Again, 100% of the money we make is going to go into making the future accessible and making sure that that conference we have in July on the 31st anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act is accessible to people with hearing disabilities. So go ahead and make that donation. Follow us on social media. And if you want to keep in contact, email us at hello@projecthearing.com. Until next time.
Want to follow up with some more questions? Submit them using the link tree in our bio and hear the response during our AMA live series happening every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Instagram and Facebook Live. Follow Project Hearing's YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook pages using the handle Project Hearing, and follow the conversation using the hashtag AMA Project Hearing.